What is going down, everyone? It's time for Mojobreak.com, The Hype, episode 301. Fresh off 300. Hope you guys enjoyed that show. We thoroughly enjoyed doing that show. I think it was a great time, and thank you guys for tuning in and all your comments. That free break will be happening on 302 for you guys, so get those comments going. If you guys want to get into that free break, jump in on the conversation over at our Facebook group called The Hype, so join in. We love you guys commenting on it. I think people's favorite segment was Guess That Price, and you know that thing does come back, and we love doing that. On this show for 301, we're going to talk this week in the hobby, the new releases that are coming out, Immaculate Collegiate 2023. We've got Merlin Soccer. We've got Archive Signatures. We're also going to look at 2023 Bowman Chrome, which is around the corner, which has some new first Bowmans that you wouldn't have never thought would have first Bowmans. So that's kind of interesting. We're also going to do preseason overreaction for football as the hype builds for football. We've been ripping national treasures like crazy. We're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about some negativity in the hobby. Is it good? Is it bad? How do you guys view the negativity in the hobby? C-Rad, national treasures has been absolutely insane. Do you think the momentum is going to grow even more as we head into the season with national treasures?
1,000%. 1,000%. It's like last year we were talking about it was perfect timing with Select coming out right before the season. This is like perfect timing for national treasures to be coming out because that stuff is flying like hotcakes, man. Can't keep it on the shelf, and like people are clamoring for football cards and football products right now, and it's just like I feel like nobody feels like they have enough right now. It's people are gearing up for the season.
I mean, Cody, what are you seeing? I mean, I think we've got, four or five quarterbacks that are really selling, and unfortunately, they're all not going to be great. I mean, we know that with odds. But Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, Brock Purdy, Kenny Pickett, even I'm probably forgetting one or two here. Any guys that you feel are in a great situation? Obviously, Brock Purdy's in a good situation, but I mean, what do you think of like Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder for national treasures?
I guess I'd lean Ridder. And yeah, you're right, C-Rad. Like if this came out in April or May, would we
like normal?
If it came out like normal, would we even care about Desmond Ridder and Sam Howell with the same energy? Probably not. And also there would be a lot of like, oh, what are the Falcons going to do with the draft? What are these teams going to do in the draft? It could ruin everything. There might be QBs we might be more into, like maybe Malik Willis or something, but I think it totally changes the game, changes the landscape of how we rip this, how we collect this. I guess I would lean towards Desmond Ridder. I know there seems to. I feel like I could be wrong. I feel like it's Sam Howell that is taking the momentum towards being that, I guess, third guy here in the 2022 draft class among QBs.
I think it's still Ridder.
Yeah,
number 3.
Yeah,
in terms of like the hobby.
I think it should be.
So you're saying, is it clearly Purdy then Pickett, or is it Pickett then Purdy? What do you guys think? I'm talking to
from
not only you guys in the room, but
from
the listeners.
It's
here.
Purdy then Pickett.
It's Purdy, yeah.
But all right, here we go. I'm gonna make a lot. I'm gonna make
B-U-T.
I'm gonna make folks in this room mad. One folk in particular, looking right at him. I think it's gonna be Pickett number 1 by the end of the season.
Well, week 1 is going to be, somebody's going to be upset, and we're going to talk about overreactions later on in this show. There's going to be an overreaction from one of those guys. You've got Pickett going against Purdy. You've got the Niners traveling to Pittsburgh week 1, and they're both going to be on display. So unless it's like a shootout 45-48 game and they both play really well, I don't think any of them can. One of them is going to have a horrible game. I mean, Pickett going against probably the best defense in the league. I don't know how that's going to work out for him. So maybe don't overreact with your Pickett cards week 1. That division is kind of tough, though. I mean, you got the Bengals. You got the Ravens. I mean, the Browns are better, too. I mean, I don't know. I think the Steelers are maybe the third best team in that league.
I would say don't overreact in general to that game because that is what everybody is going to do. If this game was week 10, there would not nearly be the same amount of hobby hype around this thing. It is perfect timing. Like with the release of NT, it'll be at that point about 4 weeks, just only a month old since we've been ripping that. There's other 2022 releases I think still on the calendar.
Flawless for sure.
Yeah. So there's still other releases, but yeah, this is like a week 10 matchup. All of that momentum has not died, but like you have a clearer picture of those two guys. So there's going to be some rash decisions. So I think either way, I guess the only thing I'd say is like if one of the two balls out, then yeah, if you want to make a sell right there, go right ahead. But don't panic sell because it's like, I got to get what I can for Pickett or Purdy because, oh my God, they threw 4 picks. And
best case scenario, they both have a good game.
yeah,
That's what I mean. You almost want like one of those Chiefs-Bills games where it's like down to the end of the wire and they're both slinging the ball well, and it's just whoever had the ball last wins. That's kind of what you hope for if you have both of them. But we'll see. It's something to keep in mind, and obviously with Flawless around the corner, which, we're going to talk about 2023 football class. I feel like nobody's really ready for that class. Obviously, with the 3 quarterbacks that are not, signing for Panini, it also puts a damper on that as well. But we'll get into that with This Week in the Hobby. I wanted to kick it off by talking about the squeaky wheel getting the grease. I'm talking about negativity in this hobby, and having different perspectives on negativity in the hobby. I think it's, buyer fatigue on a lot of this stuff, with the changes with Fanatics coming in, with Panini changing the way they do business, with redemptions, all this stuff, and even I think what spurred this conversation is there was a female breaker out there that got a lot of hate, and not just because it was a hobby related, it was more of a personal attack type thing. And, that kind of sucks. But, I mean, from a business standpoint, I look at it like, I want the negative comments. Call me fat. Call me whatever on my feed, because all that's doing is helping the algorithm of my Instagram post. So whether good or bad, it's still helping. So sometimes those go into full-blown 100 comment replies, and then you're viral on stuff like that. But I wonder if customers or people in the hobby see that and they get turned off from the hobby, or it makes them more interested, more like a soap opera type thing. So it's interesting to dissect, because there's just a ton of negativity. And like I said, there's probably 100 times more positive, but people don't really post the positive stuff. They go after the negative talk. That's what a lot of our show's based on, the hype. I mean, we're not that negative, but I mean, negative stories are what people like to hear. I mean, so what do you guys think? I mean, is it something that's getting worse in your mind in this hobby? Is it normal, or is it just something that you just don't pay attention to?
I guess I'll start here. I mean, I think in general, it's something I try to tune out to a point, obviously. Let's just start with this. First of all, yeah, you mentioned that, yeah, there are a growing number of women in this hobby. Something that I think when I started out here a few years ago, yeah, it was, it's still the whatever. Yeah, it's exactly. That's what I'm trying to look for. The percentages are still very, very skewed to men, but things have changed a lot in the last few years as this hobby has grown. That is a good thing. It should be seen as nothing else other than it's a good thing that the hobby is getting more diverse, not just in terms of gender, but in terms of racial diversity and everything. It's getting a lot better over the last few years. There's still work to be done, but obviously you are going to have a clash of maybe folks who have seen the hobby in a certain way and have or just are stuck in their basement or their computer and don't get outside. And if they were even near anyone who was any woman, that they wouldn't know how to act. So they have to let it all out on the internet. So I'll just throw that out there. That is just completely crosses the line. There's no place for that. Zero to sexism, racism, literally zero place for that. You can be mad at the brands. You could be mad at the companies. You could say, I don't like the direction the hobby's going in. That is all fair and good. And look, freedom of speech. It's the First Amendment, baby. There's a reason for it. You can be upset with how the hobby is going. That is all fine and well. Where it crosses the line is where it gets into the place where you have to use sexism, racism. You don't want to have to say that stuff, and you don't want to have to, you don't want to have to deal with that stuff. And that's where it crosses
sticks
the line.
and stones, right?
Sure. At the same time, I guess, and it's easy, me as a white dude, it's easy for me to say sticks and stones. But I think if you are, if you're a woman in this case, you're going to be thrown stuff at you that we don't get thrown at us. Like we can bounce back at somebody, and then they say, well, whatever, I don't like you, blah, blah, blah. They're not going to throw more sort of pointed remarks at us that I think would hit a little differently. So, I guess at the same time, don't feed the trolls, I think is a thing It's kind of a blanket statement. If you're on the internet, if you've been on the internet a long time, that's something we all kind of know. Easy to say sometimes, especially when stuff gets real personal. So, but it is something I've always tried to employ. I see a bad comment, unless it's something I know I can come back with that's kind of harmless. I generally mute it, or I just pay no mind. Don't feed the trolls.
But isn't there an aspect as a business side of it? And if you do reply, then you're just helping your own algorithm as well, right? So it's like maybe you're feeding into that troll and you're showing some strength. And I agree with you there. I can't put myself in a position of a female in a male-dominated industry where you're trying to gain your respect, right? I mean, I'm not saying respect wasn't given, but like I'm sure you feel challenged coming into that situation and trying to prove yourself in a sense, and to deal with comments that have nothing to do with anything that you're working at. You're opening cards, and then somebody's talking about your looks or your dialect and all these other things that became negative comments. It's probably challenging, and you see the comments back, but like I'm also like, is that helping the algorithm? At the end of the day, the brand is out there and more people are seeing it and more people are coming to that person's defense. Is feeding the trolls, and I'll ask C-Rad because I know you feed the trolls.
Oh, yeah.
Is feeding the trolls, does that make you look better or worse? You know what I mean? Because I think in certain instances it does make you look better.
Yeah, I would. It's a very delicate balance, right? It's like engaging in internet wars. It's very tricky. I think in some instances it could make you look better. Some instances, obviously, like it's just like, man, you would have been better off just not even saying anything. What I'll add to the conversation in general is that as our hobby and as this, industry grows, as we've seen with everything else, like once we start getting these chat rooms with thousands of people and the comments are coming in heavy, that at that point there's nothing really you can do, because there's just going to be a percentage of those people that are just going to be jackasses. So yeah, I would say definitely you definitely gotta, as we grow, I think you gotta grow a tougher skin. And what a lot of what I get a lot from, like, especially listening to like somebody like Joe Rogan, is like, maybe sometimes you don't, like, if you're somebody who is very, very sensitive to that type of thing, is like, just don't even look at any of it. You know what I mean? But like I think you're right. It can help if you do respond, and like if you engage them, but not like. But not
like a higher road type
and take a higher road,
like,
but don't respond
like,
like in a, like, not necessarily responding and also negative with negative, right? But responding maybe even with love. That not only are you like engaging the algorithm at that point, like adding to that, but then like, you're not also making yourself look like a fool by being super negative as well.
Yeah, and I think that, and I get it, in our social media landscape where everything, it's all, content is king, whatever you want to say, all these buzzwords, all these buzz phrases, that it can be easy to be like, well, we gotta, like, oh God, we have 700 comments on this post, but it's all back and forth, throwing barbs at each other, negativity. You don't want to have to then go to the, let's say to the National next year, and suddenly you go from, let's just make an example. We go from Mojobreak, respected breakers in this industry since 2010, to, oh, those are the guys who always, get into it, and they always throw barbs, and like, oh, those are, you don't want to mess with them. Like, they're just gonna troll you or something like that. You don't want it to become that. You don't want suddenly your entire reputation to change, where I know I'm throwing a lot of old phrases, a lot of cliches. I shouldn't do that, but all press is good press.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in that. That is not true. Yes, it can be true for like a bit. It can be true for a while. Oh my God, our name's all over the place. Look, I'll throw it out there. We have a very popular video of us saying platinum card breaks, they ain't no good. And a lot of people were talking about them for a while. And I would venture to guess all of that press was bad. and it is not, they would say, no, it was bad, period. It's not good press. I don't care that anyone's saying our name. So it is, there's a fine line. Like C-Rad said, you can be playful about it. You can also say, hey, look, that may be how you feel. We're going to keep doing our business. And I think you do have to do that. You have to be very careful about the things you put out there, especially if you're representing a business, you're representing, if you're on your own personal account and you're representing a business or your work or your employment. Like, you have to be very careful. I think you don't want to sound unnatural like a robot, but
yeah, and it's hard. And put the business hat back on. I mean, you see other breakers in this industry that have a lot of negativity. I mean, look at our Triple Logo Man poll, and there's 300 and so comments, and it still grows to this day. But there was a breaker that was mentioned that it was like, we're glad that they did not pull this card, and you guys know what we're talking about. But like, they've almost built their brand on finding that fine balance of negativity and positivity, right? So it's almost like in an internet world, nice guys finish last sometimes. I don't know. Is it better to be controversial? Maybe. I don't, but you also have to, like, from our standpoint, like you said, we've had this character for 10, 12 years, 13 years now. And, you got to stay genuine to yourself too. I mean, I think if you start going off the rails and trying to be like negative on purpose or being sensational, like you see so many sensational journalism, and especially in this era of football that we're going through right now with the preseason, it's like whatever clickbait headline we can get. And yeah, I guess it works, but are you really being true to yourself at the end of the day? And I think that's the tough thing, is trying to get those comments on wholesome content. I mean, somebody can go out and save 5 kids from a burning building and we won't get any comments, but you see some like a train wreck of sorts and I'm just using that as verbiage. That's where all the comments go, right? It's like the negativity. You watch the news, there's no like all like charity stuff. It's all negative stuff. So I think that translates into social media as well. And, if you see something, if you're going on Instagram and you see this post with this girl and there's 400 comments, you're like, I'm going to go, it's like almost a natural reaction to start reading the comments. That's what I did. But then I was so thrown off at how much, negativity was evolving in this hobby.
I think too, it's why, and again, I know it's sort of a luxury for folks who can't always go to the National or to other shows. That's why it feels like going to those types of shows is such like a breath of fresh air a lot of times, because it's like you're talking to people, you're off of a screen and you're just talking to people. And even from my perspective of people that I'm like, where I'm like kind of like, I don't know about that guy, or like they seem inauthentic, they seem like they're just in it for the clicks, and then you actually talk to them and see who they are as a person.
Yeah, and nobody's
and it just
usually
changes
as rude.
everything.
Yeah, it's behind the keyboard.
And it gives you that perspective of like, the internet is not real life. Like, it feels like it is a lot of times. It dominates so much of our everyday lives. Like, hell, I'd say most of us, a lot of us listening, or I can speak for myself, we sit in front of a computer and that's where we do our work all day. So it can feel so like all encompassing and it suffocating at times. So it's nice to have those times where you go to shows or wherever, or hell, or have your own communities like the ones that we have, when we're ripping on YouTube or on Fanatics Live or wherever, where folks are talking and having a good time. Those are so refreshing, and it reminds you why you're doing this.
It's the interpretation of text compared to conversation in person. Body language and speech, for that matter, is so much more valuable than how you're going to interpret what somebody says in a text. Yep. Or on a break video, for that matter, where I'm not saying you're not in character on a break video, but you're not what we're doing now on a break video. You're a little bit more amped up and hyped up, a little elevated. So, but I mean, what are some of the more funny comments? Like, you go through Panini's posting about Arch Manning, and they're like, blah blah blah. We signed him to an exclusive, and you just go through it. It's like, where's my redemptions? Where's my redemptions? Where's my redemptions? Where's my redemptions? Where's my redemptions?
I almost want them one day. I almost want them one day to be like, folks, they're not coming. Just get over it, okay?
We threw that one away. That one's gone. Sorry.
Now that's the one time where I'll be like, go ahead and post some troll comment.
I mean, Dan always refers to it. He referred to it last week of the Tom Seaver guy, and rest in peace to Tom Seaver. The guy's got a Tom Seaver redemption, and let's face the facts at this point. It's probably not going to get signed, So, but we doesn't let him forget about it.
But what's funny, I think I messaged you about it. They pulled us on Fanatics Live. They pulled a Tom Seaver out of I want to say it was out Sterling.
It was live or a redemption.
It was it cut auto live?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
And that's why I was like,
Don't show it to that guy.
I'm hoping that guy's not watching this Fanatics live right now because they just pulled a Tom Seaver.
that's insane. Yeah, I mean, and that stuff does suck. I mean, people do feel like they've gotten jibbed on some of their, autograph redemptions that they're waiting for, and some of them just don't get fulfilled. I mean, it's just unfortunately a part of the game with the celebrities. But
man, you go back to when I remember you and Dan always talking about how like when the redemptions were first announced, it was like it was like a good idea. It didn't probably pan out the way they thought it would. No.
Yeah, and I'm actually surprised. I'm going through Topps, Panini. I'm really not finding a lot of negativity, so maybe it was just all on one of the posts about the breakers that we were talking about earlier. I think that's where you see a lot of the negativity. I mean, I think the biggest one I see, too, as a breaker on our feed is great. All the good cards and all the good cases go to big companies, and me as a average Joe collector will never have an opportunity to get this card. And I don't know if that comes from a place of jealousy, but like, I think what people don't understand is a lot of these, like, people aren't buying these cases. People are buying spots, sometimes at like $50. Somebody hit a $12,000 Brock Purdy for free from us. I mean, it was like there's ways to get into this hobby, and it's not like we're opening it for ourselves or Leighton's opening it for himself. There's ways to be a part of this community if you want to. So it's not excluding anybody. But you see that comment over and over again of like, oh, looks like another big logo man came from a big breaker, And it's like, or then you go to the flip side and somebody pulls something out of retail and they're like, well, why was that in retail? So it's just, complaining to complain, I think, sometimes. And
well, can't win.
You can't win.
Dan's not here, so I think I have to echo what I think his sentiment would be. The best way to avoid all of this, all the negativity, just don't post. Don't post ever. Don't ever post on social media, and you'll never have to deal with all of this negativity and all of the comments like that. So,
that's not an option for a business.
I know. I had to channel his energy here. I'm sure he would be like, I'm not doing it.
As far as personal, if it's just for yourself, then you don't avoid it if that's not your thing. But for business, you gotta play.
You have to play the game.
I mean, here's one right here. There's I don't know if you guys seen this Trout Ohtani photo where they had that
dual card,
that dual signed card that got PSA'd, and it looks like Ohtani owns one. I mean, I'm just judging by the picture. I don't know who owns them, but Trout has one in his hand, Ohtani has one in his hand, and his interpreter has one in his hand. And somebody was like on the post, so Topps can figure out how to make more cards that majority of collectors can't afford to own, but I can't get a response about a card that I paid for 2 years ago. Way to have a pulse of the collectors. And then the cards were realized, just not the autos. I mean, but the funny thing about this is that the guys that signed the card are holding the card. So, like, Topps didn't, like, produce this card and not get it. Like, these guys signed the card themselves, and they're actually Trout's a collector. But must be nice to be able to pay for PSA 10, scratch my head. Trout is really excited. He's probably not excited because he's not been playing lately, but that's besides the point. But, like, there's some funny stuff that you see on the internet. Makes me laugh. So I don't ever take it too seriously. But when it comes to, I wanted to just bring it up because I just felt bad for the female breaker that got personally attacked for just the way that she celebrated a card on camera, which was a natural reaction.
I think, if you look into that whole thing, they also the company that she works for posted it themselves too. How like she's just really unaffected, which is the way you gotta take it, right? She's like super like whatever about it. It's like, cool, man, you guys are mad, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you have to, when you have a public facing company, especially in media, you automatically open yourself up to that type of stuff. Yeah. So you do have to, you can be upset about it maybe off camera or off social media or whatever, but yeah, you gotta have to show that stiff upper lip if you're gonna be in this world, because the trolls come out and they are relentless.
And we're complaining about this. Imagine somebody in politics. I mean, come on. I mean, somebody on politics that's posting something on Twitter on one side or the other. I mean, it's probably brutal.
Please.
I mean, we're probably talking about the heinous of the most heinous comments.
We're going 360 on that one. That's like a whole different crowd, a whole different animal, a whole different beast.
Yeah. So like they're probably like, hold my beer on that. You guys talk about sports.
Man,
cards,
what I would give to hear complaints about Panini redemptions in those posts.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Exactly. All right, let's talk about a little about this week in the hobby. Immaculate Collegiate is out, and it is 2023. We just talked about 2022 at the top hour of the show here, beginning of the show. But we've got 2023 Immaculate Collegiate, which is kind of a staple product. It's kind of one of the first high-end football products of the year usually. And, you got your triple autos. You got your really nice patch memorabilia autos. The interesting thing to see is, without the autos of Levis, without the autos of Stroud, and without the autos of Bryce Young, how this thing is going to perform. And maybe that is, in a way, a good thing, because maybe the prices will remain affordable, because there still is some great hits in there. There's still some great vet hits. What do you think, without opening this up yet? We're about to open some today. What do you think about Immaculate Collegiate? C-Rad.
Oh, man. Yeah, like you said, staple product, first high-end product for the draft class every single year. Usually some really cool collegiate patches, right? Really amazing collegiate patches. I think, dude, there's so much confusion still in the marketplace, in the hobby, amongst football collectors or guys that are just like maybe coming in, because there's a new group of collectors that come in every year for every new draft class. There's people that are still buying these early 2023 products, thinking that they can pull a Will Levis, Bryce Young, and CJ Stroud auto.
Right, because you're not like Panini's going to be like, this box contains no Will Levis, Bryce Young, or CJ Stroud autos right on the front of the box.
So my opinion on how this draft class year is going to be is that it's still going to be a good one, especially because we can still pull base cards of those guys, right? One, especially like products like Prism is really going to help. Contenders
and patch cards.
Yeah, Contenders is going to suffer like that. But I feel like coming off 2022, where we only had two quarterbacks really to chase for the most part of the year, and then towards the end of the year, people are started chasing Ritter and Howell more towards the end of the year when they're realizing these are probably going to be the guys that are going to be starting next year. But for the most part, we were only chasing Kenny Pickett for most of the year, and then Brock Purdy when he started blowing up, right?
Right.
So I think the 2023 products, with a stronger, quite possibly a stronger running back core. We still have some quarterbacks in there. Obviously, number 3 pick Anthony Richardson's in there, and a couple other quarterbacks, Hendon Hooker and Stetson Bennett, and all these guys. Where I think it's going to be this, it's going to come out to similar prices probably of 2022, which is a great thing because 2022 products were, like you said, affordable for the most part of for the entire year. So some certain products like Prism are going to be insane though, because guys are going to want the Prisms of Bryce Young and CJ Stroud and Will Levis. But like other products where they don't have autographs, I think it's going to be a nice balance. But it does suck because like right now people really don't understand that these 3 guys are not going to be in these products.
Yeah. We want to let you guys know we're gonna, we're transparent. We're not gonna be like, oh, you may be able to hit a CJ Stroud. Maybe they put one in here. No. So, but it's going to bring value to some of the base products. Obviously, their Prism cards are going to do well. Contenders, I feel like they will figure out ways to make other cards. Probably, you might see Contenders like short print base cards.
There's got to be a base case hit or something.
Case hits, inserts to make up for it. And Fanatics really hasn't done a lot in terms of using these guys yet, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of plan they have to get these guys in their products. That are going to be mainly collegiate because they don't have the license. Yep. So all part of the Fanini. I like just combined it. Just take the P and make it an F.
Did we just look into our crystal ball right there? What's about to happen? Yeah.
Fanini.
No, it's just fun with Panini.
Fanatics. The war between these two companies in terms of trading cards.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see any Fanini anytime soon.
No, we're not gonna make memes like it's not gonna be like a Barbenheimer here, where with the lawsuit, we're not gonna be combining their names as we cover this lawsuit.
Which would be better though? That's a good question. Would Fanatics be better or Fanini?
Oh, Fanini already. Fanini.
Listen to the way it rolls off your tongue.
It sounds fun.
Fanini. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fanatics. Just put that F right in front of the P. Cross it out and put the F. Just like gang war style. Cross it out, put a K. No. But we also have archive signatures this week as well, retired player edition. And I'm staring at this Willie Mays Stam Usual. Looks like an on-card auto. That looks pretty sweet. I'm definitely interested in chasing that. The retired players has lost its luster over the years, so hopefully
hopefully load it up a little bit.
Load it up a little bit more. I mean, you've got a lot of recent retirees and Derek Jeter. I mean, not recently, but he's going to carry it. You've lost Hank Aaron, rest in peace, but he was a staple in those products. Cal Ripken, these names that have been there every year.
I'm hoping to see like a Jeter, maybe like, I know it's not going to be every case, but like if we can get a Jeter like one in every other case, that'd be nice for retired player edition, because the active player edition is a very popular product. 6 series, like that stuff flies every time we have it, but retired player it takes a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely an acquired fine wine type of taste.
It clearly looks like they're being creative here. I mean, with that Willie Mays Sam Musial is incredible, and clearly the autos from when they were much younger.
Yep.
So they're obviously scouring wherever to find some rare gems. Yeah, it's in these buybacks. So that's good for them to find something like that. That is a really, really special card.
Yeah, because definitely Stan's auto got a little squiggly towards the end of the period. I mean, bless his heart, he was still signing when he could. He was at the end of the time he had, and so that card does look great. I want to see if they have more stuff like that, because I think this product needs something like that. Maybe
cool
even some
duels.
Relics. I mean, maybe some jumbo relics. They used to make this back in the first years of museum. They used to have this thing called Titanic Threads, and it was like a lot of old school patches, but it was a huge patch with the nice pinstripes on it and stuff. I don't know if that's something they could do. Price point's good though if you want to get in. I think personal boxes are around $79 for a guaranteed encased auto of a player with obviously some
price.
chase. Yeah,
Great price, no problem.
and we're gonna be ripping those on Fanatics Live as well as our website Mojobreak.com as well. So wherever you get us, we'll have that in stock. What's this Piedmont card here? This Joe Boyle 3.5.
Yeah, Joe Doyle.
Half of 6.5.
That's right. Half of 6.5 went for a 3.5. Just had to throw it out there because that T206 Joe Doyle error card went up for auction Sunday night. It joins the $1 Million Club, which I think there are now, how many $1 Million cards are there in this hobby now? I think we've reached
almost
10.
What makes
15?
this one an error card?
I think there's something in the back that is misprinted. And it is, of course, the Joe Doyle in general is the rarest card. It's more rare than the Honus Wagner. So this is
more
one of the
rare.
best. Yeah, actually more rare.
Just not as sought after.
No, not as sought after. Obviously, Doyle not as much of a
Name.
not as much of a career. But yeah, one of the best versions of this card ever. So I thought it was notable to mention another card joining the $1 Million Club. But yeah,
You asked me to make predictions, and this is maybe a wild one, but what if in 2 years, we said if you guys listen to episode 300, we said, what is the prediction by the time we get to episode 400? How about cards going back in cigarettes? Is that a possibility, guys? I mean, you could see a guy outside of 7-Eleven smoking the Marlboro Red and be like, I got a trout,
man, if that happens, times are tough. If the day that happens, where I can go get a pack of Camels. Do they even make Camels still?
I
Is
think
that still
so,
a thing?
yeah.
Okay.
They
yeah.
make every cigarette you've
They
ever
still
smoked in your
do.
life.
Yeah. They're the only business is still in business, even though a lot has changed. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but you can still get
I
them.
mean, the tobacco industry's probably kicked it around. They're like, maybe we'll be able to, instead of $15 a pack, we'll go 25.
I like the okay, bouncing off that.
Not good for
Once-
the kids.
No.
Once the Mary goes legal and they start making packs like that at the stores, and you start putting cards in there, that's a
There
little
you
bit more
go.
cooler, right?
That's where you could do pop culture
That's
cards.
a little bit more cooler, right?
Yeah.
Than
Get your
cigarettes.
I'm sure Snoop Dogg will have the first Bowman of the Mary Jane cards.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, if you really want to get the people to be like, who's this even for the kids anymore? Well, I mean, as long as that's specialized. By the way, the thing that makes that special is that it says that Joe Doyle is in the National League. He's a member of the Giants. That was not the case. He was an American League pitcher, and that is why it is considered 6 times rarer than a T206 Honus Wagner.
Okay. 3.5 is the best.
That's got, yeah,
It's like one of the best ones known out there.
Yeah, probably the best condition for that
Wow,
card ever. So
3.5.
pretty incredible.
Imagine what a 6.5 would go for.
Man, oh man.
$5 million. I wonder how many of those cards are actually out there. I mean, I know we're really kind of honing in on the cigarettes, so hide your kids. Put your kids as earmuffs on here. But you know what would be crazy to find a video from those times? I know there was early video back in there of what the guy did when he opened that up and he got that card. Did he throw it straight in the garbage? Did he put it in his pocket?
Straight in the garbage.
Probably straight in the garbage.
You know, you open it now and you're just like throwing the trash in the trash can, right? The wrappers and stuff.
But there's no
opening up in the trash with the Raptors and the card inside the trash.
But there's
can.
just advertisements in it now. There's no actual sports players.
Yeah.
Well, I know when I was reading some history about some of the cigarette cards, what would happen often is the kids, once they caught wind that there were cards in there, the kids would just sit outside of like a drugstore, wait for the guys with cigarettes, and they'd be like, "Can we take those?" And they're like, "Yeah, fine. I don't need this. It's just it's a piece of junk."
Man, and those kids from 1900s is like raking it in now.
They probably threw them away. Their moms did.
Oh yeah. They're like, "Yeah, why do you have these stack of?"
They're like 129. They're like, I got $1 million.
I mean, that could have been someone's inheritance. There could be somebody living off of some old T206.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm watching a pack of cigarettes from 1909 being opened right now. The cigarettes did not make it to the test of time, and I don't even know if there was a card in this, guys. Maybe there was. Oh, wow.
Smokes, literally.
Do they just like evaporate or something? Does that
Yeah, the paper kind of evaporated
Yeah.
to the point where the tobacco was just hanging out in there.
Jeez.
But they were much smaller. That's why the cards were so the pack was the size, obviously, of the corporals. Like they didn't make the pack because now packs are almost the size of a regular baseball card. Maybe what's what they were headed to.
Let me ask you guys. You guys are baseball collectors. Is it a bucket list goal in life to own one of these T2 cards?
Man, that would be. Yeah, that might be one where I don't even need the best one.
I think we have one around here somewhere.
Yeah?
You can get some of them for.
But I mean, like one of the bigger names.
I mean,
Maybe.
Is that one of your goals to own one in your collection? One of the bigger names.
You know, sometimes those goals got to be realistic. I don't know if an Onus Wagner's walking through these doors any day, but
Right.
would I like to have like a cheaper T206? Yeah, absolutely. Like a cheaper graded one for sure.
And the thing about the rarity of those too is that I'm sure if somebody say 1909 and somebody somehow kept a carton of these laying around, probably by 1940 they were thrown out. They're not even thinking about the value of a baseball card in any of these things. So that's like the rarity of even finding an unopened pack that has a card in it. So it's just crazy how this industry started. But let's talk even crazier things. Maybe is 2023 Bowman Chrome is around the corner, and Bowman Chrome is usually littered with a lot of international signings, which has worked out in the past, and in some years it's not worked out. But I always go back to 2016 Bowman Chrome, and for you guys that are new to this hobby, there's 3 Bowman releases throughout the year. We've had 2023 Bowman, that's where Drew Jones is. 2023 Bowman Chrome is coming out, and then at the end of the year you got 2023 Bowman Draft. Bowman Draft has a lot of your first-round guys. Most of the first-round guys are in that. And then your bigger names are held out for that following year of Bowman, which in this case would have been 2023 Bowman with Drew Jones. So that 2023 Bowman Chrome is usually kind of the one that's kind of left out in a sense, where it's like a lot of international signings that happen after the draft that don't get in Bowman. So it's kind of hit or miss. I mean, 2016 you have Tatis, Vlad, Soto. They kind of came out of nowhere. Everybody knew about Vlad at the time, but nobody was focusing in on Soto. Not a lot of buzz on Tatis at that time, and look how they've turned out. But this year's Bowman Chrome, and I don't know what format. I think they're using Hobby and probably HTA again. I don't know if there's going to be a Breaker Delight version.
Yeah, I'm just gonna straight up assume they're coming out with a new SKU this year.
But they're adding in first Bowmans of legends, so guys that have never had a Bowman card. So you've got pictured here Roberto Clemente, first Bowman. Are collectors going to like this? Is this going to be a good thing? I mean, Clay Larashi from Topps came out and said, this is going to be the first time you're ever going to see this, and it may be the last time. And especially if it's a first Bowman, they're not going to make the guy's first Bowman again.
Right.
So how collectible, let's just say they throw Roberto Clemente, they have Babe Ruth, they have some of these big names. How much value does this add to the product, and what do we think these cards are going to go for?
You know what? We were trying to figure that out this morning of what these first Bowmans would go for. I was just about to look it up because I don't know the exact price. But let's just put out like the Babe Ruth first Bowman Superfractor. Let's throw that out there. Would that outsell, say, a like what's like I don't want to go too high with the PSA grade. I don't know. PSA 1? Is that too low? Or PSA 2 of like an actual Babe Ruth rookie card? I am assuming the rookie card still outsells it, and yet there's still a little part of me like, I don't know if the Super would actually outsell it. That would be insane if it did. And yet the fact that there's even a hint of doubt that it might tells me, yeah, I think these are going to be popular among baseball collectors.
Yep.
It's tough. I mean, you're kind of blending in two different worlds. You're also blending in two different type of collectors, because if you go to the National, the guys that have the Babe Ruths and the Clementes, they don't have Wander Franco. They don't have Julio
They got
Rodriguez.
straight vintage.
Yeah.
They keep it vintage. I mean, we're talking about like, if you had to compare, like, somebody that likes Happy Days doesn't listen to Taylor Swift, right? It's combining those two worlds may not like, if you're a Golden Girls fan, you're probably not sitting there watching Zac Efron, right? So it's like, it's two worlds that are combining. And Zac Efron, I don't know why that went first. I was trying to think of a very popular, maybe 20-year-old show.
Something like High School
Maybe like
Musical.
Jersey Shore. Like, Jersey Shore people aren't going to be watching Golden Girls or Happy Days.
Actually, they might.
Or
At
Charlie
this point-
Chaplin.
Well, okay, there you go. Yeah, Charlie
back a
Chaplin.
little farther.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
Or what was the Odd Couple or something like
Sure.
that, right?
I think, to your point, what you're explaining right now is that I personally feel like modern collectors will appreciate this more, because they're like, cool, Babe Ruth first Bowman, but vintage collectors gonna look at this and be like, that's some bullshit.
Right, 100%.
No, I 100% agree with you, which is why I'm saying what would happen if, again, a low grade. I still can't find the data on like what a PSA 2 might have sold for, but but a Superfractor potentially, because it's modern collectors pricing it out.
I would like to know how rare the regular base is of these legend Hall of Famers and legends. Two, with them saying that they're possibly may never be doing this again. And I kind of mentioned this before off air. That means they would have to kind of include almost all of the biggest names of ever in the set if they're not going to do the set anymore. Right, but then you guys are saying that they should split it up, right, and kind of space this thing out. But if they're never going to do it again, then they need it.
Well, I think that he mentioned that you're not going to see these names again.
Okay. If they put it in this set, then you're never going to see them again, which makes sense.
I do like them. Like I said, you could be hit or miss on Bowman Chrome. You could totally be hit or miss. Is this a sign that they feel like this one's going to be a miss? I don't know. They have been doing new things. They throw tacos on cards now. So, I mean, This is new things. I mean, also, my mind is rolling, and you probably already guys know where I'm heading. Does this mean, like, if they had a Bowman card in, like, 2000, but it doesn't have the first Bowman on it? Right. Does that signify because, I'm like, if there's a Barry Bonds first Bowman, I mean, I don't know what the heck.
Also,
is going
what
on,
about like iconic classic Bowmans, like Mantle and Mays? Like, those are their first Bowmans. Like, they won't be in here, right?
Well, right. There had to have been. So, I mean, we know that right now there's a Roberto Clemente because they showed it. There's got to be a Roberto Clemente Bowman card, no?
Sure, I would think.
I'm going to look that up.
By the way,
now.
A PSA 1 last sold of a Babe Ruth, the M101-5, him pitching card, cigarette card, $30,343.
Superfractor will absolutely sell for more than that.
That would be insane. That would be. I don't know. That's a little high, so I don't think it will. But it might get close.
I'm saying it goes higher than a PSA 1.
Boy.
I want to add this too. Since Fanatic has come in and taken over Topps, within the last year especially, I've noticed a big, and they've had some issues in terms of printing and all this and missing autos and all this stuff. But in terms of like pushing the envelope of giving us things that we didn't know we wanted, and like actually being really good and well received by the hobby and things that people actually do want to collect, they've been doing a great job of that with almost every release that we're with, because we're so used to every release because we've been doing it for so long that everything's just the same. But they've done a great job of really adding things that are like, wow, okay, Frozen Fractor and Taco Fractors, and now like the first Bowman Legends and Bowman Chrome is just like cool little things for each release that I'm gonna say I appreciate from Fanatics Tops.
Yeah, I would love. Yeah, the trying stuff new is great. I mean, it's and you're not always gonna.
And it's not always going to hit. It's
not
not
always
gonna
gonna
hit.
win. So
To your point, C-Rad, I feel like that after a few weeks of Topps Chrome, and I love Topps Chrome, it's what I collect the most, but it's ripping through a lot of that, it can feel a little repetitive after a certain point where you're like, we're hitting a lot of the same pitcher autos, we're not getting those big ones, and you rip more of it than anybody else in this building, so you know it. I think this year it's different because you're getting those radiating rookies. You're right. I think it's been way more exciting.
I was gonna say. I don't know if you. I thought you were gonna say about this year because I was like, I've done like 70 cases of Topps Chrome at this point. I finally hit my first frozen fractor the other day.
Oh wow!
And Jacob hit one before you. And he did
Yeah,
less.
I did.
And I finally hit a frozen fractor. And
Are they all 0 of 5?
Mine was -3 out of 0.
Oh, okay.
But they go down to -5. 0
Yeah,
out of
because the one I saw that Jacob pulled, I think it was -5 over 0. So they have -5, -4, -3, -2, -1.
So that goes to show like that stuff like this legit rare,
Yeah, that's crazy.
which was fun for me because I was like, damn, 70 cases in, I'm still pulling stuff I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, it keeps it fresh, right? Well, we're getting short on time. You can catch us on Fanatics Live here soon. I'm getting ready for today's
that's
show.
right.
Can I mention before we move on? I have to mention
absolutely.
it. Obviously there's some big prospects in here. Joe Andrew Vargas. I think it's
The Dodgers always have a guy in
yeah.
Chrome.
Brandon Maella of the Yankees is the top international prospect. We don't know Ethan Salas if he's in here for the Padres, but he's 17 years old and he's the 5th ranked prospect in all of baseball.
Isn't there
already.
Skeens too? People are trying to clamor
Potentially,
for
yeah.
But
They'll wait.
But he's not drafted yet, correct?
No, he has been drafted.
Oh, weird.
It'll be Bowman
Dodgers?
draft.
Hell yeah.
It'll be Bowman draft for Skeens, I imagine, and Dylan Cruz will probably be pushed for Bowman. But what I wanted to actually mention is talking about the legend stuff. We've mentioned all these baseball players. We know Topps announced at the industry conference in March. Tom Brady, Bowmans.
Oh, yes.
Baseball.
Glad you mentioned that.
Is it going to be in here?
He would either be in Chrome or draft, right? He wouldn't be in regular Bowman because he wasn't.
It
actually.
might be draft because it's an Expos card when he got drafted. Right?
Yeah.
Could be.
But also, you got me thinking too that you're mentioning that before we move on. The choice might suffer then. If these become a huge hit and choice comes out and there's no base whatsoever, it's just the autos, you're not going to be able to sell like the Pirates for as much or you know what I mean? So we'll have to see how that plays out. Are they going to make a Breaker Delight version?
I was gonna say, Bowman Chrome Breaker Delight.
Choice goes for way more than hobby because people just want the autos. But if there's first Bowman Legends, now it adds value to the hobby. Like again, they're finding ways to add value to the stuff that people don't normally want.
Yep. All right, let's get into some NFL preseason overreactions. It's not an overreaction that Trey Lance flat out sucks at football. And if you're holding on to some 2021 Trey Lance,
Trey area,
I would try to move it while you still have some time. I was a complete and utter Trey Lance lover last year. Had the jersey, believed in the kid. Just he's not there yet. And you know what? I'm not saying he won't ever, but for the 49ers, he will not have a snap for the 49ers this year. That's my maybe a prediction, bold prediction. But yeah, it is that time, and I just kind of proved the point that people overreact. I just totally overreacted on that. But
as an outsider, I would say if you're a 49er fan, you better hold on to your quarterbacks, brother. Hold on to all the quarterbacks that you have.
Yeah.
We got a lot of them now. We learned our lesson. My boldest prediction, and maybe it's not too bold, Anthony Richardson, Rookie of the Year.
Awesome.
Also, playoff
guy.
bound for the Colts.
Love that guy.
Whoa.
Playoff bound.
Playoff
Wow.
bound. What's their division again? They have the
South.
Jaguars,
They ain't going
right?
to beat the Jaguars, but I think they'll get in wild card. I mean, you got the Texans probably rebuilding.
Texans. I don't think Texans is going to be as good as people
Titans.
think.
And Titans, I mean, you don't know if it's going to be Tannehill, Malik Willis, or Will Levis, and they may all start this year.
I love the Rookie of the Year prediction. I don't know if they make the wild card though. That's tough for me.
I mean, after seeing, and I've had this overreaction with, Taj Boyd because he was such a great personality. But after seeing Richardson at the premiere with you and how cool he was,
super cool.
Also hearing some good stories about him
him.
from other rookies, I was like, I really think this kid's good.
Dude, he was the biggest player at the rookie premiere event, and then, like he's as big as any of the linemen or defensive backs that they had there. I'm like, what the heck? This guy is hella.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have a great first game, but he had a pretty solid 10-yard run that was on tape as
Yeah.
well.
I think he's gonna be good.
Who's number 4 over here on the right? Is that Dalvin Cook?
The newest member of the New York Jets, Dalvin Cook.
That's a perfect segue. Thank you. Besides my Raiders, I got Jets winning the Super Bowl this year, and that's not a hot take.
You had them last year.
You want to know what my hot take is? The Chiefs are not gonna make the playoffs this year.
Okay. Here he is, folks.
I will agree with you if Mahomes gets hurt.
The number one hater. Pat Mahomes hater.
That's just what I think. Dude.
No
Well, who comes
bias,
out of
says
the
the
West
man wearing a
besides
Raiders
say
hat.
the Raiders? Who comes out of the West? Is there another wild card team in the West?
Yeah, who wins the West?
You know, I give it to the maybe the Donkeys. I don't know.
The Broncos.
She got Sean Payton now. That's why.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson looked terrible in preseason again. I know
Russell.
it's preseason, but
Listen, I got 3 futures bets for the Super Bowl this year. The most confident one, I put some money down on the Jets. I watched both episodes of Hard Knocks already. I'm loving what I'm seeing. I'm entertained. I'm on the Rodgers bandwagon, especially in that jet green. They just signed Dalvin Cook, which is awesome. It looks like the only issue is the same issues that they had last year, which is if you watch the second episode, it's their line, their offensive line. Their motivation to play, that's the question mark. But other than that, I also got a super features bet on the Raiders, of course, just for fun, and then also on the Rams.
I just thought of something.
Whose house?
This is kind of a little off topic, not really. Do you think that like Vegas, all the people putting in the odds at Vegas, kind of put a little, kind of a little whisper into the ear of HBO execs of like, hey, look, don't put too like when is the last time there's a really good team on Hard Knocks? There's never been like an awesome Super Bowl contender team on Hard Knocks. There's also never been like an absolutely abysmal bottom of the barrel team. Last year, I guess you could say with the Lions,
Super Bowl contender, but I mean they're a good team.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they never have like the Bills or the Chiefs this year, or they won't have like the absolute worst team in football because they want those middle ground teams where they're like that Hard Knocks effect where everyone watches go, you know what? The Jets are going to be good. The Jets are going to win the Super Bowl. Put my money on the Jets, baby. They're going all the way to Vegas to play the Super Bowl. And every year there's the Hard Knocks effect where all these people get hyped up and they put a bunch of money that is just going to vanish by the time the Super Bowl comes around.
That, yeah.
That's my conspiracy.
I think that's 100% true.
Yes.
But for me personally, watching a lot of the Jets games from last year and then knowing that I think I said on the podcast earlier this year, but like when there was rumors that obviously Rodgers wanted to go to the Jets, I was like, I was already salivating. I was like, I can't wait to put my futures, because it's a fun bet, right? It's just
Granted,
like,
yeah, the Jets are probably the best. This version of the Jets is probably the best team they've had on Hard Knocks.
yeah. This is the best chance for the franchise landing Rodgers and getting Dalvin Cook. This is their, if they're gonna win it's gonna probably be this year or next year.
Well, I mean, if they go against the Niners, you know who is Aaron Rodgers' daddy. Let's just say 4 straight
true.
outs. 4 straight playoff outs.
Not against your former coach.
I would be thrilled if it's Niners Jets
That
in
would
the
be
Super
wild.
Bro,
Bowl.
I'm okay.
Vegas.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Listen, you guys haven't seen it yet, right? The second episode or first episode.
I
maybe?
haven't seen it. I have to watch it.
Watch the second episode. It's crazy because they have like a mind therapist consultant come in, and then like he brings in down one of the players, and he's like, well, just give me your prediction. What do you think? Who do you think you're going to be playing in the Super Bowl? If you just had to say. Like, this guy was predicting everything, right? And then the Jets player was like, probably the 49ers. He's like, give me a score. How much you guys think going to win by? It's probably 31-21. And then he, like, flips over the board that he already had made. Niners, Jets, 31-21 on the back.
Here's except it said Niners.
Rodgers bringing in his hippy-dippy, magic, incense, darkness
Do
retreat,
DMT?
BS.
Dude,
Come
if you
man.
guys watch it, oh, man. He's about as normal as you can get.
Oh, no, yeah. I've been in Aaron Rodgers. I mean, especially.
His teammates are like, on the first episode,
no,
like,
they love him.
he goes on the mic, he's like, dude, Aaron Rodgers, everything they say about him in the media is not true. And like you think these are his new teammates, right? So he's probably, it's probably a honeymoon period, but still, like from what you watch, it's like he seems pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think Aaron Rodgers needs motivation. It was one of the reasons why they drafted Jordan Love there. But I think this new motivation is going to be good for his career and his season here. Yeah. But yeah, that's all we got for today's guys. If you have any bold predictions, put it on the hype community. Also, make sure you join any of our breaks. Mojobreak, if you're itching to get into anything, whether it be Immaculate, Topps Chrome, we're getting really low on Topps Chrome, but Immaculate, Merlin Soccer, we've got more Pop Century, all this stuff going down. Mojobreak.com. Also, you can catch us on Fanatics Live daily as well now. Getting in on some auctions. Currently only available on iOS, but it is going to be web-based very, very soon. So it'll be able to, if you're international, you'll be able to get on that thing, as well as if you have a a kid phone like a Droid. You can get on it on your PC as well.
Jeez.
So,
Dan's not here
there's
to
a few of
defend
you guys
himself.
out there. Yeah, you can't defend himself.
No.
I know that it's about 5 of you guys that have the droids. But, yeah, you can join us on Fanatics Live. Also, follow us on Mojobreak_com on Twitter and Instagram to contribute to the comments. And thank you guys so much. We have the most awesome group of listeners in the whole hobby, so we appreciate you guys listening every week and commenting. And Dell, we owe you a tennis box from going back and finding the one episode where we didn't talk Bay Area, which was episode 266. Apparently.
Wow.
Crazy.
So, yeah. So we appreciate you on that one.
Crazy.
I get a shout out for that for real.
Heck yeah.
We
man.
almost made it on this episode, I want to say.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, we were
You
forced
guys
to talk
started
about
you
it.
guys start off talking about the Niners.
We
It was
talked
like-
about
it was like 5 minutes
national
in.
treasures. You have to talk about it, right?
Fair enough.
So, all right, guys, we'll see you guys on the next show. Peace out.